The sun dipped low over Denver as Logan Pierce returned from an intense 24-hour shift with the city's Urban Rescue Division. His body ached from rappelling down the side of a collapsing hotel to extract a trapped maintenance worker. The adrenaline from the operation had long faded, replaced by a bone-deep exhaustion. Still, the pride of saving a life lingered, reminding him why he had chosen this path. He hadn't expected to be home on a Wednesday afternoon. His wife, Ruby, usually spent these hours at her specialized training studio, something she had become increasingly obsessive about in recent months. Their house, nestled in a quiet suburb, felt strangely still as Logan stepped inside. The air was thick with silence, broken only by the soft buzz of a notification from the kitchen counter. The glowing tablet screen displayed a message preview that froze him mid-step. "My husband's too boring to satisfy me. Can't wait for tonight's session." The sender's name, Wade Miller, stabbed at Logan like a blade. He stared at the screen, unmoving, muscles taut but steady from years of tactical training. The iPad belonged to Ruby, but due to a shared Apple ID she had insisted on 6 months ago, "To stay connected during your crazy shifts," she had said. He could see her messages. More notifications flashed in quick succession. "You're still sore from last time. We should stretch more tonight. That new move you showed me, I can't get it out of my head. Your husband's probably passed out again while we break a sweat." Logan clenched his jaw, fighting the wave of nausea and disbelief. How many nights had Ruby teased him for going to bed early, knowing full well his rescues drained every ounce of energy? How often had he defended her absence at department functions, convinced she was merely dedicated to her fitness goals? His phone buzzed, his brother Ethan calling. Logan stepped into his home office and shut the door quietly. Ethan's voice was laced with tension. A new treatment option had been proposed for their mother's worsening condition, but insurance was refusing to cover it. Logan had mentioned Ruby might help financially through her fitness business. But the truth was, he'd been managing their mother's care expenses alone, despite Ruby's repeated promises to contribute. Hanging up, Logan opened the banking app. His stomach turned as he scrolled through the savings account. Transaction after transaction directed to Peak Performance Solutions LLC, the business name registered to Wade Miller. The inheritance Logan had preserved from his late father, intended solely for his mother's medical needs, had been siphoned away. The pattern was unmistakable. The more Ruby immersed herself in training, the faster the withdrawals came. Thousands of dollars. Gone. He saved the bank statements, his mind operating now in the same way it did during emergencies. Structured, calm, efficient. Just like planning an extraction mission, except this time the fire was at home. Another call came in. This time it was Caleb Knox, his closest friend and fellow rescue specialist. Logan drove out to the station and sat beside Caleb in the parking lot. Caleb's eyes were heavy with something more than exhaustion. There was no easy way to say it. Caleb's wife, Ivy, trained at the same studio as Ruby. According to Ivy, Ruby and Wade's connection wasn't exactly a secret. They used the late evening training block, overlapping girls' nights, and studio sessions as convenient cover. Caleb admitted the entire team had started to suspect something, but didn't know how to break the news to Logan. Logan didn't flinch. Years of navigating chaos had taught him to listen before reacting. He filed every piece of information like evidence on a caseboard. Ivy had even seen Ruby leave with Wade more than once, well past midnight. Returning home, Logan felt the familiar burn of betrayal inching up his spine. Ruby had manipulated more than his trust. She had systematically dismantled the foundation of his life. But he wouldn't react like a hurt man. He would respond like a tactician. That night, Logan contacted someone who owed him a favor, Lila Moreno, a private investigator whose discretion and results were legendary. Years ago, he had pulled her from a collapsed office tower during a citywide fire disaster. She had clung to him like a lifeline. Now she would return the favor in her own field. Lila wasted no time. Her initial sweep confirmed Wade's pattern of targeting clients' wives. Charming, manipulating, seducing. He'd recorded multiple encounters, not for personal pleasure, but for leverage. 3 marriages had dissolved quietly after husbands received anonymous videos. The women paid to keep the footage hidden, but the damage was irreparable. Wade's operation included everything from performance-enhancing drugs to suggestive fitness recordings under the guise of progress tracking. Cameras hidden in the private training room had already captured Ruby during more than one session. "He's careful," Lila explained, "but he's never dealt with someone like you. Most husbands he targets are accountants or lawyers, not a rescue specialist with a tactical background and a spine of steel." Logan didn't smile. "What's his private session rate?" $500 an hour cash, she said. Logan nodded slowly. "Then we'll give him a reason to film everything, comprehensively." Wade Miller received the anonymous email on a quiet Thursday afternoon. It was short and precise. "Double your current rate for complete documentation. Every video, every message. No exceptions. Name your time." He didn't hesitate. The reply came within minutes, full of confidence and greed. "When do we start?" Logan Pierce closed his laptop, his expression unreadable. The trap was baited, and the countdown had begun. Like the fires he'd spent his life controlling, this situation required timing, accuracy, and total control. Emotions were irrelevant. Precision was everything. Over the following days, the recordings began to arrive. Crystal clear footage from Wade's private studio. Logan watched each one dispassionately, documenting timestamps, saving duplicates, creating a chain of evidence stronger than any courtroom defense. In one clip, Ruby's wedding ring caught the light as she leaned into Wade, laughing at Logan's long work hours and praising Wade's stamina. Another showed them whispering future plans: divorce, division of assets, starting over together. Logan didn't react. Not outwardly. His tactical mind absorbed every word, every movement. The evidence wasn't just damning, it was surgical. Meanwhile, Ruby remained oblivious. Her days were consumed with posing practice, supplement schedules, and curated social media posts. She floated through their home like a guest, occasionally offering surface-level small talk, rarely making eye contact. Logan maintained the charade. He responded with nods, short sentences, and the same steady demeanor he used during crisis negotiations. Let her believe nothing had changed. That weekend, Logan visited his mother. Her strength had declined sharply, and the experimental treatment option loomed over them like a storm cloud. The cost? $58,000. Insurance wouldn't cover a cent. Ruby, once again, hadn't contributed. Logan didn't mention it to his mother. Instead, he assured her they would proceed, and that she should focus only on healing. He sold his motorcycle the next day. The money went directly into a trust account for her treatment. He told no one. The roar of the engine had once symbolized freedom and control. Now, letting it go represented something far greater: sacrifice without announcement. That same evening, another set of files arrived from Wade, more invasive than before. But this time, it came with a careless flourish. "She says she's leaving you after the next competition. 2 more months. Once that prenup expires, half of everything is hers." Logan flagged the message, added it to the legal packet, and forwarded the entire exchange to his attorney. Monday morning brought a call from his brother Ethan. During dinner the night before, Ruby had tried to charm her way into private conversation with him. She'd sent him messages later that night, borderline suggestive. Screenshots followed. Logan's blood chilled reading the lines. "We both know who the better Pierce brother is. I won't tell if you don't." Ethan had shut it down immediately and blocked her number. Now he apologized for not telling Logan sooner. Logan's response was calm. "You're telling me now. That's what matters." At work, Caleb Knox pulled Logan aside. Ivy had more information. Ruby and Wade weren't hiding anymore. At the gym, they acted as if Logan didn't exist. Ivy overheard them discussing a plan to host a party for Ruby's big reveal, an early birthday celebration disguised as a victory event for qualifying in her first competition. The guest list? Hand-picked gym clients and the very enablers who'd helped Ruby keep the affair under wraps. Ivy was helping coordinate it. Logan didn't confront her. Instead, he asked Caleb for a favor: compile names. everyone attending. Cross-reference past clients of Wade's. Ethan joined in, running quiet background checks where possible. The pattern became unmistakable. Many of the women attending the party had been previous clients of Wade. At least 2 had filed for divorce within the last year. A few others were rumored to have quietly paid off threats of exposure. Wade had made a business out of seduction and manipulation, and Ruby had become his star case. The deeper Logan dug, the more disturbing the details became. The steroids, the coercion, the financial exploitation. He stored everything in an encrypted archive, divided into labeled folders. Video, messages, bank transfers, affidavits, surveillance, contracts. Lila Moreno's investigation progressed in parallel. Her report included sworn statements from Jim's staff who had seen Wade deliver supplements under the table. One junior trainer admitted Wade once bragged, "I can take down any marriage in 90 days. As the party date approached, Logan visited his old station. In the control room, he met with 2 techs from his rescue unit, trusted members of his former team. He explained what he needed. A video setup capable of seamless projection and audio playback during Ruby's event. Just a training simulation, he called it. Caleb raised an eyebrow. "You're really doing this?" Logan's voice was low but resolute. "Some fires need to be lit. This one's long overdue." He spent the rest of the evening finalizing documentation and scripting the rollout. Not because he needed drama, but because justice, when served with clarity and order, left no room for manipulation or doubt. Downstairs, Ruby laughed with Ivy and 2 other wives, planning her big moment. Logan heard her say, "Everything has to be perfect. Everyone who matters will be there to see it." From the office, Logan stared at the ceiling. She had no idea how true that would be. The day of Ruby's so-called victory party grew closer with every fabricated smile and staged conversation. Logan Pierce had mastered silence. He moved through the house like a shadow, letting Ruby believe she remained in control. Her laughter echoed through their home as she tried on dresses, compared poses in the mirror, and juggled text threads with Ivy Kessler, who had somehow become both confidant and cover. When Ruby informed him the party would double as an early birthday celebration, Logan nodded. She insisted it would be a small gathering of people who supported her fitness journey. Logan knew the truth. It was an audience she handpicked to witness her imagined ascension. She had already arranged catering, decorations, and even rented projection equipment. Ironically, the very system Logan had quietly replaced with one supplied by his old rescue team, now repurposed for a different kind of exposure. As the preparations unfolded, Logan received the final set of incriminating files from Wade Miller. They were worse than anything prior. Not just physical betrayals, but whispered mockery of Logan's commitment to his job, of his exhaustion after 30-hour shifts, and of his dedication to family. In one of the text exchanges, Ruby wrote, "After I win, I'm done pretending. Once we hit the 5-year mark, the prenup expires. 2 more months and I walk with half. About time, baby," Wade responded. "We'll flip the house. I'll cash out, start over," she replied. Logan archived the messages, updated the timeline, and forwarded them to his legal team. His lawyer confirmed that the documented deceit and financial misconduct voided the prenup. Ruby wouldn't see a cent. At work, Logan accepted a departmental commendation for his leadership during the recent wildfire crisis. A commendation Ruby ignored, claiming she had party logistics to manage. The photo of him receiving the award would later run in several publications. Ruby never acknowledged it. That night, Logan sat alone in his home office, covered in soot and fatigue after another rescue operation. A message from his brother Ethan came in. Just finished checks on the party guests. 5 of them former clients of Miller. 2 with sealed divorce records. Ivy's been listening during training. They're all still helping her cover it up. The gym had become a hub of false empowerment. Women enabling each other under the illusion of self-growth, while gossiping about their husbands and making excuses for Wade's manipulations. Ruby was their icon, and Logan was the blind fool they all quietly mocked. Only he wasn't blind anymore. He reviewed the background check reports, cross-referenced timelines, and created connection maps. By the time the sun rose, Logan had a complete operational brief. Across town, Lila Moreno had secured sworn statements from 3 gym employees. 2 admitted seeing Ruby and Wade leave together late at night, often using a private side entrance. 1 described an entire wall in Wade's private studio covered in hidden lenses for progress tracking, Wade had claimed. But no clients had ever received those progress videos. Only Wade had access. The final nail came from a junior trainer who had witnessed Wade delivering performance-enhancing substances to Ruby, wrapped in protein bar wrappers. The signs were visible now. Mood swings, rapid muscle gain, and an edge to Ruby's personality that bordered on aggression. None of it mattered to her circle. Ivy continued to play the loyal friend. Lorraine and Harper, 2 of the most vocal wives, were still bragging about their own private sessions and planned to attend the party in full glam. Logan's focus shifted toward the tactical. He reviewed the audio system installed by his rescue unit techs. The display would be triggered by remote. The speakers would deliver Wade's own voice clearly. The video feed would leave no room for denial. The timeline was locked in. That evening, Ruby stood in their bedroom practicing her stage smile in front of the mirror. The same dress she now admired had been purchased using Logan's emergency card, under the category of supplements. He had the receipts. "You don't mind covering the party costs, right?" she asked, not looking up. "You missed so many of my prep sessions. This is the least you can do." "Whatever makes you happy," Logan replied with measured calm. She didn't hear the layers beneath the words. The night before the event, Logan met with Ethan, Caleb, and 2 uniformed officers at a coffee shop near the station. Marshall handed Logan a folder. "She tried messaging me again," he said quietly. "Same pattern. Suggestive texts. Said you wouldn't have to know. I shut it down. But it's all here." Logan nodded. "Thank you. You did the right thing." Lila arrived moments later with the final binder. Inside, bank statements, video transcripts, a timeline of Ruby's use of funds intended for Logan's mother's medical care. Every transfer to Wade's company was labeled and matched to corresponding studio footage. "You're ready," she said. "You have everything." Logan stared at the sealed binder. Tomorrow he would pull the lever, not out of spite, not out of bitterness, but to end the lie publicly, definitively, and without emotion. Later that night, Ruby's laughter floated up through the floorboards. She was downstairs with Ivy, finalizing table settings and playlist choices. Logan sat in his office, back straight, eyes on the laptop screen showing a paused video of Ruby in Wade's arms. Her smile on screen was unrecognizable, hard, distant, hollow. Tomorrow, the people she tried so hard to impress would finally see the truth. And Logan Pierce would light the match. The day of the party arrived beneath a cloudless Denver sky, the oppressive summer heat clinging to every surface like static before a storm. Inside the Pierce residence, everything unfolded as Ruby Allen had envisioned. Caterers fluttered through the kitchen, floral centerpieces were arranged with precision, and the smell of overpriced pastries filled the air. She moved through the rooms with confidence, dressed in a sharp crimson gown that commanded attention. Her eyes sparkled with the thrill of performance. What she didn't know was that her stage had already been set by someone else. Logan Pierce watched from the background, steady and composed. His team, disguised as a local AV company, had installed the projection equipment without raising suspicion. Beneath the glossy black plastic and sleek monitors hid a different purpose. Not celebration, but revelation. The guests began to arrive. Most were from Ruby's gym circle, lean, tan bodies in tight clothing, faces sculpted with makeup and self-satisfaction. Ivy Kessler was among them, along with Lorraine Quinn and Harper Lang, women who had helped Ruby maintain her illusion of power and purity. Few from Logan's world were present, save for Caleb Knox and Ethan Pierce, blending into the crowd with practiced detachment. Wade Miller entered with the confidence of a man who believed he had already won. He made no attempt to hide his pride or his proximity to Ruby, their glances subtle but unmistakably intimate. To many in the room, they appeared to be the perfect fitness couple, thriving while others merely survived. Logan moved through the house like a host performing his duties, offering drinks, adjusting the temperature, pretending to struggle with the projector's settings. He made it look accidental, clumsy even, feeding into the image that had been cultivated around him for months. Tired, inattentive, outpaced by his ambitious wife. When Ruby finally gathered her audience, standing beside the massive cake and shimmering decorations, she radiated the polished glow of someone who believed her version of the story was universally accepted. She acknowledged her trainer with dramatic gratitude, made pointed comments about personal growth, and tossed in a veiled remark about the importance of having real support at home. The applause was light, the laughter subdued. A few guests exchanged uncertain glances. Ivy smiled too broadly. Lorraine whispered something behind her hand. Logan stood near the projection system, remote in hand, waiting for the moment when illusions would burn away. Without a word, the lights dimmed. The screen lit up. The first video began innocuously, Ruby entering the studio. But what followed shifted the atmosphere in an instant. Private footage, intimate moments, the unmistakable context of betrayal. Her wedding ring caught the overhead light, a cruel reminder of the vows she had already broken. Clip after clip rolled across the screen, each one more damning than the last. In one, she laughed at Logan's long shifts. In another, she shared plans to leave him after the prenup expired, detailing how she would claim half of everything. Her voice was casual, rehearsed, confident. The crowd fell into stunned silence. No one moved. No one breathed. Among the footage was a recorded confession from Wade, unaware his words would one day seal his downfall. He casually admitted that someone had paid him double to document everything. His smirk, once charming, now revealed a deeper ugliness. Ruby stood frozen, her face pale beneath the artificial glow of the party lights. The air around her thickened with dread. The blade she had used earlier to cut celebratory fruit remained clutched in her hand, forgotten and trembling. Wade's instinct for escape kicked in. He turned toward the door, but found his path blocked. Ethan and two uniformed officers stood in place, calmly intercepting him. Logan, still silent, handed a folder to his attorney. Inside, divorce papers, financial records, sworn statements, video logs. The groundwork laid with surgical precision. Ruby attempted to regain control, her voice cracking beneath the weight of desperation, but no one responded. The crowd had shifted. Respect evaporated. Faces that once admired her now stared through her, seeing only deception and arrogance. Lila Moreno arrived near the end, a quiet figure carrying volumes of investigation. She offered no speech, only documents and verification. Everything had been collected legally. Every dollar spent from Logan's inheritance fund was traced. Every supplement purchase, every off-the-book payment to Wade, every studio session accounted for in full. No defense was strong enough to withstand the truth so openly displayed. Within the hour, Wade had been escorted from the property. His expression, once smug, now registered panic. Ruby remained rooted in place, the remnants of her party around her reduced to cold hors d'oeuvres and empty chairs. The guests left in waves, some without speaking, others with averted eyes. Ivy avoided Caleb entirely. Lorraine slipped away quietly. Harper followed, her laughter long gone. By evening, only silence remained. Logan stood alone in the living room, surrounded by discarded party favors and dimming candlelight. There was no triumph in his posture. No need for grand gestures. What had needed to be said had been shown. This wasn't a spectacle for revenge, it was closure. Public, deliberate, undeniable. Some fires, he knew well, couldn't be put out, but they could be contained, and in their wake, leave nothing left to hide behind. 6 months had passed since the night Logan Pierce exposed everything. In the time that followed, the story spread quietly but unmistakably across Denver's tight-knit professional circles. Not through scandal sheets or social media, Logan had never sought publicity, but through whispers exchanged in boardrooms, locker rooms, and neighborhood cafes. The footage shown at Ruby's party was never uploaded. It didn't need to be. The truth had already taken root in the right places, and its impact rippled outward. Ruby Allen's life unraveled faster than she could reassemble it. The divorce was finalized with brutal efficiency. The prenup she had counted on was rendered void by her financial misconduct and verified infidelity. Her attempts to contest the outcome collapsed under the weight of sworn statements, banking records, and the testimonies of gym employees who had once protected her out of fear or misguided loyalty. Stripped of her social following, sponsorship hopes, and professional credibility, Ruby relocated to a small town in Iowa. Her once curated image of polished strength now reduced to low-paying shifts at a local gym, where she wiped down equipment in cotton uniforms rather than branded activewear. Her personal training certification had been revoked, and no respectable fitness center would hire her. Online, she became a cautionary tale. Her name referenced in forums as an example of what happens when manipulation disguises itself as ambition. Wade Miller's descent was even steeper. Multiple lawsuits filed by former client spouses bled him dry. His certification was stripped, and every attempt to relaunch under a new brand was crushed by the digital trail left behind. He ended up working poolside maintenance in Milwaukee, reduced to scrubbing algae and dodging taunts from teenagers who recognized him from viral clips. Even there, he couldn't outrun the consequences. One paternity test from a former client had made national headlines. Every time he changed numbers, angry messages found him again. Back in Denver, Logan's life had evolved in the opposite direction. His promotion to Chief of Urban Rescue became official during a formal ceremony attended by his entire squad. The event made local headlines, not because of the past scandal, but because of Logan's leadership during the massive forest fire operation that saved dozens of lives. His mother sat proudly in the front row, her health fully restored after completing the experimental treatment he had secretly funded by selling his prized motorcycle. Next to her sat Dr. Mira Halden, the burn unit surgeon who had worked alongside Logan's team during the wildfire crisis. Their relationship had grown slowly and quietly, built on mutual respect, not performance. Mira never asked Logan for more than he could give. She didn't pry or press. She simply stood beside him, through the silence, through the healing, through the transition from survival to something steady and genuine. Her presence brought no tension, no performance, only clarity. Ruby's final attempts at retaliation had failed before they started. Her online posts claiming she had been targeted by the fitness industry were flooded with screenshots from Wade's own recordings. Crowdfunding campaigns to cover legal fees were flagged and removed. Even an attempt to restart her career by teaching yoga at a senior center ended abruptly when one of the members recognized her and filed a complaint. The network of women who once supported her fractured in similar fashion. Ivy Kessler's marriage to Caleb Knox ended quietly. Lorraine Quinn's husband lost a local election after details of her involvement surfaced. Harper Lang's interior design clients faded one by one, unwilling to associate with a name that had become tied to scandal. At the annual Firefighters Family Foundation Gala, Logan arrived with Mira by his side. His team greeted them warmly, no longer weighed down by what had once gone unsaid. The faces around the room had changed. Gone were the women who whispered behind folded napkins. In their place, new spouses, genuine partners, and men who had chosen honesty over illusion. Ethan Pierce joined Logan at the bar, noting how peaceful the evening felt compared to last year's gathering. Back then, Ruby had tried to attend, escorted by her attorney in a last-ditch effort to salvage reputation. She hadn't made it past the lobby. The quiet rejection from her former circle had spoken louder than any confrontation. Marshall had since advanced in his own career, continuing the investigation that started with Wade. His work uncovered a disturbing pattern across the fitness industry. Predators exploiting time gaps in the lives of first responders and military personnel. With Logan's help, they created a task force to support victims and provide legal resources for those caught in similar traps. The foundation expanded its mission, no longer focused solely on medical aid. Now it included counseling, education, and forensic auditing for firefighters' families. Logan's story became a case study, not just in betrayal, but in how to respond with discipline rather than vengeance. That winter, Logan stood once again on the apparatus floor after a midnight rescue. His hands were cracked from the cold, his gear heavy with ash and sweat. A new recruit approached him, eyes full of questions. "Chief, why didn't you go public with it all?" Logan looked at him steadily. "Because truth doesn't need an audience. It just needs to be seen." Later that evening, driving home, Logan passed the gym where it had all begun. Stood empty now. The logo had been stripped from the facade. A for lease sign hung crooked on the door. At home, Mira waited up with warm coffee and quiet conversation. No questions. No second guessing. Just presence. Some fires, Logan remembered his mother saying, burn so thoroughly they leave no trace of what came before. But they also clear the ground for new growth. In the end, he didn't just survive the fire. He rebuilt from its ashes. Stronger, wiser, and finally at peace.